Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have a witchy haul today. I'm probably going to break it up in like 2 or 3 parts depending on how much I talk, because if you know, you know. That's number one. Number two, this is an accumulation of Christmas gifts, anniversary gifts, purchases that I've made with my own money, and I think that sums it up. So that's why there's a lot. This isn't a typical haul for me. It's a mixture of mainly books, because if you know me, you know I love books, and very few of anything else, to be honest. So without further ado, let's get started on this witchy haul. First up is The Book of Lies. This is a book that I've heard of a long time ago, but I just wasn't really inclined to purchase it for some reason. And then I started seeing it pop up a bit more, so that's what inspired me to finally get it. This is a used copy, so I got it for a lot less than it usually goes for. And this is written by many different authors, and here's the list. In the back it says it's an alchemical formula to rip a hole in the fabric of reality. So this is supposed to help with any disinformation that is related to the occult. I have not even begun to read this. I've just flipped through it a little bit, and it looks like it's a collection of articles the way it's structured. The next book is A Witch's Travel Guide to Astral Realms by DJ Conway. DJ Conway, I think, is more popularly known for writing books on dragon magic. So this was interesting to me because if you have dabbled in dragon magic, or at least looked it up and read about it, then maybe you kind of understand that there is a good amount of astral work that would come in hand with that. So to see her approach on this, I think would be really interesting. I've also been doing a lot of astral work myself. So I have no idea what I'm going to get when I read this. But in the back, it does say by a reviewer, this is the best book I have ever read on the subject. So I'm really looking forward to this one. The next book is Creating Magical Entities. And this one is just exactly what it says. It's not a really thick book, and I've already bookmarked a really cool section of it, even though I haven't read it. I flipped through it. This book is actually a recommendation in one of Kelly Ann's older videos. She has a chaos magic playlist. I don't know if this book is recommended in those playlists, but it's related to that somehow. I don't know if she still identifies as a chaos witch or not, but this was one of her recommended books, so I wanted to check it out and see how I felt about it. Even though I already understand how this works in my own way, and I have other books that talk about it, I really wanted to see how useful this would be, and maybe see if it would be something I would want to recommend to people who were interested in creating magical entities or not. Because there's already really great videos on YouTube about it too. But yeah, it's a book I just kind of had that I'd been wanting to purchase for a while. Now, these next two, I think that everybody has probably heard of at some point now, simply because they have become so popular and heavily reviewed by many people on YouTube that review magical books, books of the occult, witchcraft, etc., etc. So Aiden Watcher, Changeling, and Weaving Fate. I didn't get the other one. I forget the name of the other one, but I didn't get the other one because from the reviews that I saw on YouTube, but also in different places, they were saying that that was more of like beginner and this was a little more advanced. So I kind of wanted to step away from beginner books because I feel like I have quite a bit and I don't consider myself a beginner. So we'll see how I feel about these when I eventually get to reading them and then make the decision on buying that third book. This next book, As Medicine, this I purchased because I put it on a list after watching Mo in one of her Neo-Pagan November response videos, challenge videos, whatever you want to call it. I really liked the part that she read out of this book, and that's what prompted me to purchase it. By the way, I think I should just go ahead and say this. All of the books that I'm showing you, I have not begun to read. So I feel like I'm saying that every single time. Let's just put full blanket statement out there. I have not started reading any of these books that I'm talking about. So this one was interesting. It doesn't sound like anything I've ever read before from reading the back of it, nor does it sound like something that I may typically be attracted to. So that made me want to reach for this even more. So that's this book. The next book is Quantum Sorcery. This book I picked up after watching one of Ivy the Occultist book recommendation videos. I have not read this, like I said before. I said I wasn't going to say that, but I'm still saying it. But I'm saying it because I have a sticky note here. And this I placed there after flipping through it when I first received the book because I was just so curious to know how it was going to be laid out. And it seems to be a very condensed course on so many of the basics physics courses you would take if you were going to major in physics. And I know this because I have taken those courses. So I have not fully read it word for word, but it seems to be a crash course in physics enough to get you started on what quantum sorcery would be. I'm not sure how he's marrying quantum science and sorcery just yet because I haven't read it, but it seems pretty promising. So I can't wait to read this one. Now this next one, if you have seen any of my previous videos, because I forget which specific one this is in, but it's the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And this became a really, oh, actually, you know what? I think it was talked about in one of the shamanic books that I was reading. So maybe like if you look at the Shaman Review books, I might talk about it. But they reference the Tibetan Book of the Dead, specifically when they're talking about death, obviously. So this is something that looks very, very hefty. It is this big and it is this thick. So it is going to be a chunker to get through. I don't know when I'm going to do that, but I'm very intrigued by what it has to say, considering that it was referenced so many times in those shamanic books. So it's a very interesting topic, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy reading this. This, I think, will become a reference book eventually. So this next book, it's EMDR therapy and somatic psychology. This is an area of interest to me. I believe in mind-body connection being a key to healing so many of the things that we go through. And I am very big on healing in my practice, so this is something that just makes sense. I don't know if I mentioned it before or not, but I am taking a somatic trauma course, so this is one of those books that is related to that, which is why I picked it up. And on that same note is this second book. It's called A Body Dreaming, in the treatment of developmental trauma. So same idea with this book. I have actually an entire shelf dedicated to somatic therapy, somatic psychotherapy, and the treatment of trauma. So maybe I'll do a video on that eventually, and maybe I'll go into talking about what books I might recommend. But yeah. Now moving on to more shaman type of books, or they are shaman books. We have the Book of Ceremony, and this is by Sandra Ingerman, which is the co-author of Awakening the Spirit World, which is one of the books that I've vlogged as I read before. I made a vlog video about it before. So this just seemed like a natural purchase for me because I really enjoyed that book and I wanted to see what she had to say about ceremony, considering this is quite a big book to talk about just ceremony, and just to see the different creative ways that she incorporates this is something that is very interesting to me. I love knowing how different people can practice or incorporate methods into like their practice. I know she primarily works in shamanism, but you can incorporate shamanistic practices into whatever it is that you do in your spiritual practice. And I think that doing so is actually quite beneficial. Now, since I seem to hop on the Sandra Ingerman bandwagon, of course, I purchased Soul Retrieval by her. I think this is one of her earlier books. And so I'm really interested to see how she talks about it here as opposed to in her newer books. But soul retrieval is a very interesting topic to me. And this is another one of those things that is probably, I have yet to come across a shamanistic practice in any region that doesn't do or practice some sort of soul retrieval. I also own another soul retrieval book. Well, it's not called soul retrieval, but that's what it's talking about. I just wanted to show you that book. It is actually called Curanderismo Soul Retrieval. So soul retrieval is in the title. Disregard my previous comment. Okay, so this next book I purchased because Sandra Ingerman actually has a channel called the Shaman's Cave, and it's a show that she does, and her co-host is Renee Baribeau, and this is her book, and it's called Winds of Spirit. So both of them are shamans, and they get on, I think, about once a week, and they will talk about a topic, and I think almost every single time at the end they will do some journeying, and that's just what they do. I think it's really, really cool and neat that they offer that, because if you know about looking for like shaman circles or services or doing journey work with shamans, a lot of people are really expensive, and to know that they're doing this work for free is just such a nice service to the community. So I wanted to see what she was talking about in here, because I know she works a lot with the wind, and I think that many people, I don't want to say disregard the wind, but they are not really as prone to work with the wind as they are with earth or fire or water. So I really wanted to hear what she had to say about the wind. I did get this one used. That's why you see that little sticker there. But yeah. The next book is Shaman Healer Sage. This book, apart from the obvious title that would appeal to me, I actually had in my cart for a really, really long time. I want to say over a year. And I kept telling myself I wasn't going to buy this book, but it just like kind of lingered there. The defining moment was actually when I read Sandra Ingerman's book, Awakening of the Spirit World. I keep turning that way because that's where I have that book, and I don't want to botch the title. That's why I keep turning my head. But she actually, I think he wrote, I don't want to say that he wrote part of the book, but he is mentioned a lot and he is quoted a lot. So it made me want to purchase this book simply because of that fact. So I'm hoping that I enjoy this just as much as I've enjoyed that book. This next one is called Red Medicine. It's another one that I had in my cart for a while, but I just couldn't get myself to purchase it. And then I saw that it was recommended by a curandera, and that's kind of what sold me on it. So I look forward to reading this and see what I think about it. But it's about traditional indigenous rites of birthing and healing. So traditional rites about birthing is not something that really interests me at the moment. However, it was my great-grandmother's specialty, so I do kind of want to connect with her a little bit more, and I think this is going to be a great way to do that. So it's kind of like ancestor work too. And then last book in this haul is a Mexican Sorcery. Now this book just came out. I just got it delivered a couple of days ago. I purchased it previous to it being released, and it finally got to me. I'm really interested to see what is in this book because it is a Mexican sorcery, but a lot of Mexican sorcery or magic or spiritual things are either rooted in or have components of Catholicism, and that is not something that I really vibe with. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about this book, but I am very good at leaving things that I don't care for and taking the little golden nuggets. So I really feel like this is going to become one of those books where I might pull inspiration from, not necessarily follow word for word. And I don't recommend that you do follow things word for word because your practice and your magic is your own. So you should always try to do some type of customization. That's just my personal opinion, of course. Now, the last thing I'm going to share is not a book at all, but it is paper. And this is just something that I purchased because I thought it would be just really cute. And I think like most witches, like obsessed with Halloween. But to me, I want to see Halloween around me 24/7. So I'll have a lot of that inspiration in like the color palette of the makeup or the clothes or my hair or decor around my room year round. And this just seemed like another really cute way to have that around me. So they're like little sticky notes, and there's like a variety of different designs. So some of these are less practical than others, but they're just so cute. I had to purchase them, and I have no idea how well they're gonna stick. I can't imagine that they would stick super well, but I might use them like in my planner to decorate So like this little tombstone. We have a little monster guy. We have little Grim Reaper on a tombstone. We have a little bat, a little spider, a monster hand. Like, what are you gonna write in there? A letter? Like, just one letter? This one's really cute too. It's like a little vampire. Then we have a little mummy, an angry little cat with a hat. We have a little monster, a little Frankenstein looking monster there. One of my favorites, the pumpkin. Another pumpkin. A cauldron. And this is probably my favorite one. A little chunky ghost. My sister saw this from far away and thought it was butt cheeks. But it's two little chunky ghosts. I love it. And then a little witchy poo. So that concludes my haul. I was trying to get through with everything that I had here without talking too much. I think I did a pretty good job considering how many books are here. I will probably be posting a TBR or to be read video. I just don't know how soon because this school schedule that I have going on right now is busy as and I cannot see myself trying to read a whole lot recreationally in terms of, well, this isn't even recreational. This is more like research for me. But yeah, because like the clowns versus spiders would be more recreational, and I am reading that. But when I read this type of stuff, I feel like I need to be taking notes and it's like a learning thing versus the clown versus spiders book is recreational. I don't have to worry about remembering anything. It's just for pure enjoyment and that's it. So anyways, thanks for watching and I'll talk to you guys soon.